What's up guys, David here. First video after NAMM 2025, by the way. If you missed the recap, definitely take a look at it. We know the music hack, don't play. We all know and love Masterplan, probably one of the most successful plugins of the last year. And they are back with something really impressive. You think you love Masterplan? Wait to hear Fuel. Let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to MixPress TV. Hope you guys are having a great day. Before we start, as usual, check the info box down below for free plugin special discounts and offers. If you want to book mix and mastering with me, go to the new website mixpresstv.com. In there you can find all the mix and mastering courses, book private lessons and mix consultations. If you want to access the exclusive in-depth mix and mastering video library here on YouTube, click the join button, become a MixPress TV member and get all the perks. And if the videos are helping you, please consider using the super thanks or grab some merch. Let's get to the video. All right, I had this plugin for a while and it's an absolute monster. It's one of those plugins that feels like cheating. You almost feel bad using it because you get so much sauce with such little effort that it feels like cheating. But I actually talked to the music hack guys at NAMM a few days ago, and they explained me a few things going on under the hood, and it's really interesting. Not that we had any doubt, Masterplan is a great plugin. Fuel, in my opinion, is maybe even better. I don't know. You'll be the judge. But there's so much going on with this plugin and it's extremely well designed. The reason because it's well designed, well, first of all, this is a plugin made by working engineers for engineers. This is very important because they basically made this plugin to make their life better and get better results themselves. And the thought process behind Fuel is that many times we use one plugin that has several functions just for one thing, right? And then we end up using a multitude of plugins to build our chain. And the idea was to basically make a plugin that does all our favorite processing for two-bus and mastering in one place. And I want to say they not only succeeded in this, but they exceeded the expectations, at least for me. So let me show you Fuel. First of all, I'm gonna give away the coolest thing, which by the way, I didn't know until I saw the guys on NAMM doing it. And I was like, is this an update? Do I need a new version? They were like, no, we kind of made it not obvious. But yeah, this is the coolest thing. If you click the Fuel logo at the top, you can change the GUI, different colors, different patterns. Very cool. This is my favorite, but let's start. Top, we have input and output, self-explanatory, and also you have an LUFS as meter. Next to the logo, we have bypass, unity, to perfectly level match process and unprocessed, live mode, which of course cuts latency and uses less CPU, and oversample. And we're gonna keep oversample on for this video. We start with the first knob, the comp OTT. So first of all, you can see we have a switch to switch between two completely different algorithms. The first one is compression and the second one is over the top compression, the famous multiband compressor algorithm that we all know, very often used in EDM, dubstep, and any high energy genres. In comp mode, this is a really fine-tuned wideband compression with program-dependent, very fast attack and release with no pumping. So basically this one would replace your two-bus compressor, SSL style, API 2500 style, something like that. And in OTT mode, again, this one turns into the very popular multiband algorithm, very aggressive to rebalance your track and to use that over-the-top, over-compressed kind of vibe. Then we have the body slider down here. It goes to 0 to 100 and is completely independent from the compressor. So just because it's right here doesn't mean that it's linked and or related. Of course, all the controls interact with each other to some extent, but not the body nor the crunch slider here are related to their respective knobs on top. So the body is basically a gentle upward compression, which is gonna pump a little at very high settings. This will help you with density. The bass knob, again, fully variable from 0 to 100, is not just EQ. This is, again, a tuned saturation with a little bit of EQ centered around 80 Hertz, so it will give you a little more bump at the bottom. Then we have the thick knob, again, 0 to 100. This is instead your broadband saturation, so it would replace your saturator of your choice for the two-bus or mastering. One interesting thing is that as we push the thick over, let's say 60%, it will shift the energy of the saturation more in the mid-range, giving us more energy in that range. Otherwise, pretty broad, pretty balanced type of saturation. Mix knob, self-explanatory. Then we have soft clip. This is again pretty self-explanatory. It will of course prevent peaks to go over 0, and at the same time will add extra color and energy. Now all these different type of saturation, the bass is focused on the low end, thick is broadband. Soft clip has a different types of harmonic and a different type of saturation. So as we know, the shaving of the transient is kind of a byproduct of the clipping. In this case, I would describe Fuel's soft clip quite colored compared to other clippers. So this would replace again your favorite clipper, something that you use to add energy and not just the shave transient in a transparent way. Then we have the crunch slider. This, if you use this plugin on two-bus or mastering, you have to be extremely careful because this is pretty much a full-blown distortion that I would not use on two-bus, to be honest. It's more for groups or individual tracks, but it does sound good and it adds a lot of grit if you want. And then we have the big loud knob in the middle, which is the state-of-the-art proprietary music hack limiter that we all know and love. In use, this thing really gets rid of 4 or 5 plugins that we usually use on two-bus and mastering. It's a plugin that can help you get extremely loud. I wanna say arguably even more than Masterplan, but it has a lot of options for colors. So be mindful, especially if you're using it again on the two-bus or mastering, that almost each knob adds a stage of somewhat saturation and color. So if you turn them all on even a little, make sure that you have a monitoring system that you can trust, because saturation can turn into nasty distortion very fast, and that's also why you have an input and output. I suggest you keep this in oversample mode because it definitely sounds better, but definitely be conservative. At the same time, the combination of the comp OTT loud and soft clip can give you that oversaturated, overinflated sounds that it's popular in many genres. Without further ado, let's hear what each knob does and how they behave, and then we use them all together. I'm gonna use a simple drum loop at the beginning so it's easier to hear each processing. All right, so we hear that the comp mode is quite transparent, actually very transparent. I suggest you use the comp mode for anything between, as you can see right now, 0 to about 20. That's, I feel, the range where it works better, but feel free to experiment and push it harder. I feel OTT works better just as a style and flavor when pushed harder, but comp is a very clean, free of pumping type of compressor, and this is a drum. We will hear more example later. We switch to OTT instead. We go back to 0, and notice I'm using Unity, so there's no different in level. What you hear is just more density, okay? All right, very cool. The mix knob is very useful with these settings. If you want to push the OTT a little more and still retain the transient, you can hear it brings up the tail of the snare. It's very, very cool. Let me show you the body, although this will be clearer later with melodic content because it's an upward compressor, we said. Right, but even on drums, everything is a little more in your face. But again, it works very well with this. It works even better when we have complex material. I'll show you that in a second. Bass. I love this one because the bass is not inflated, right? You see I'm pushing it about like probably 70% here, and it's present, it adds a lot of energy, but it's not night and day, right? It's a very subtle control. I love it because there's a little bit of saturation in that and keeps everything glued, thick. All right, as I said at the beginning, as we pass probably 50-60%, we hear that energy shifted in the mid-range where the snare is in this case. But if we have complex material, anything that is in the mid-range is going to be more energetic. I love the saturation, especially if you are in the box. This thick control can really replace 1 or 2 saturators that you use on your tubas by itself. Soft clip. Please notice something. I am clipping a solo drum, all right, which is as exposed as it can be. And I'm at 70%, and you don't hear the low end folding, you don't hear the transients falling apart. And I'm using Unity, so I'm compensating for the level increase, which in this case, I'm gonna turn off because you do need to understand how much headroom you gain with this soft clip. And I'm not even using the loud yet, how much nominal level you can shave without destroying the material. So I'm gonna turn the Unity off and I'm gonna manually lower the output because otherwise I'm gonna blow everybody's speakers, but you need to understand how much louder at the same nominal level you can get with this. All right, and that is matching the peak level. So this is how much louder with just the soft clip alone. And I really like all the Musik X plugin. It has this visual feedback and the white lines brightens when the processing is taking place. That's not just aesthetic, it's a visual feedback of the intensity of the processing that is taking place. Finally, we have the Loud, which is the proprietary state-of-the-art limiter. This is a straightforward limiter, it's one of the best limiters out there, and this thing can get really freaking loud. All right, I'm gonna put up a meter so you can see the difference. This is without fuel. All right, snare hitting a -7.4 with fuel. I am almost 3 dB lower, and of course I'm exaggerating a little bit, but also this is a solo drum, so it's extremely exposed. So you understand that by combining all of this, and again, I feel a little goes a long way. I'm using exaggerated settings, so it's clear and obvious through YouTube, but this thing is a weapon. This thing can get really loud, but good loud, okay? So let's try some examples with complex material. It took me, what, 25 seconds, and I'm purposely matching the -7.4 maximum nominal level that the track has without fuel. It's not just the loudness. I feel especially for electronic music with the OTT settings on the compressor, it just fits the style so well. And if you listen to the kick without it, it has this capability of placing the kick inside the mix and the melody, but still making it the main character. It's not choked, right? We don't lose low end, we don't hear it folding in the sub range. And I'm not sure, I think it's the thick knob. It also has some stereo enhancing going on, and we can clearly hear it. The mix is wider and has more depth. I really love this thing. I mean, it's so simple and quick to get a result. Let me play this one again. Did you see the meter? I mean, this thing can get insanely loud. I am actually, so without, right, minus 6.1 with it. It's so incredibly loud, and of course, yes, right now with these extreme settings, we start hearing the snap on the snare is a little less punchy, but what impresses me is how well it retains the low end, which is usually the first thing that goes away, and I'm actually boosting the bass knob, so around 80 hertz. And again, I feel even if we can hear the action of the soft clipper on the snare, it kind of fits the genre. Let me switch to comp. All right, there's also the mix knob, which obviously is phase compensated because we don't hear any weird phase shifting. The low end would go away completely if that wasn't the case. I really like this plugin. I think once again, they did an amazing job. Let's try something else. I'm gonna actually change the GUI because the blue one is kind of cool. Nice, I'm just listening for tone in this case. I'm not using anything regarding loudness, so not the loud, not the soft clip. And again, you get the results so quick. I love the body, especially, you know, low BPM stuff like this one. It really helps bringing up details, especially when you have a fixed energy in the low end like we have here with the 808. All the details sometimes get lost. Really cool. And by the way, I didn't mention this, but if you click on the writing, you see the light turns off, so you can actually turn off each individual processing independently, right, including the loud. Let's try something else. I'm going to show you what the crunch does. Right, so it crunches. It literally does what it says on the tin. This actually could be interesting. Maybe if we open it on a single track. No, I was not expecting. I was not expecting to like it this much. Now this sound, to me, that is the sound with the crunch. That's very cool. Oh, now it makes me feel like I want to experiment this crunch on many other things. I kind of underestimated how cool it was because again, we assume most people will use Fuel definitely on 2-bus and mastering, and so the crunch might be a little too much very soon, but dang on single tracks, and I wasn't even using this oversample. That's very cool. I want to try really quick on something else. All right, I'm gonna try single tracks. I'm gonna put the first one, the black one, on the kick, the second one, the blue, on the bass, and the last one on the snare. Let's start with the kick first. All right, I matched the nominal level for the kick. Now let's do the bass. That crunch is so gnarly. And snare. Level matched, and let's hear it. Then this is fun and so quick, and as you can see, Fuel is not just for two-bus and mastering, but also for single tracks and groups. Really a cool plugin. In the end, whatever makes my life easier and gets me faster to a better result, I'm all for it. And this one's got a lot of options for different colors, not just on the GUI, pun intended, for saturation and many ways to achieve loudness, which is very cool. Music hacks, I think. They delivered again. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment down below. Don't forget to check the info box down below where you will find also the link to Fuel. If you want to book mix and mastering with me, mixbusstv.com. In there you can find all the mix and mastering courses, private lessons, mix consultations, and so on. If you want to access the exclusive library of in-depth mix and mastering videos here on YouTube, click the join button, become a MixBustTV member, get all the perks, and if the videos are helping you, please consider using the super thanks or grab some merch. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Stay safe. See you next time.